Washington 50 years, or as long as I'm in the community.
How did you end up over there? What took you over there?
How did I get there?
Was it
She
job?
She took a civil service test like your dad.
Well,
I mean, like
it all started with Frank Masterson, a guy, a friend of your dad's. He worked for the government. He worked at the Bureau of Mines. They used to come and sit, we'd sit out on the steps and that.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you know how they always say government workers have it easy. And he'd say, oh, he'd said to Anna Brick, a friend of mine and myself, he said, oh, you couldn't even pass a test. You couldn't even pass the test. And he brought the things home to take a test
Application.
for appointment in Washington, D.C. only. And Annie Brick wouldn't go. But I went in that day, that was funny. You had to bring your own typewriter and your own table.
where'd you get your
I
typewriter?
borrowed the typewriter from, was it a friend of yours that had the
I
typewriter?
don't remember.
I borrowed the typewriter and we had a card table. And I went down and got on the street.
With a
I'll
card
never
table and a
forget
typewriter.
that. With a typewriter and a card table. And then got off at the courthouse and you went in to take the test. And you set up your little table and put the typewriter on and then they give you the test. And I really never thought I'd ever get down there, but I got it was about 6 months later that
Took a while,
before I got the report of what
See?
I did on the test,
Mhm.
you know.
She had
And
passed.
then one night in the middle of the night, the phone rang.
Middle of the night? That's it?
She was invited to work.
So somebody asked for me, and Pop said, "Who is that?" And they said it was a telegram. It was a telegram.
Oh.
So I went down, and they told me they were Western Union, and they had a telegram from Mr. Onthank in Washington, D.C., wanting to know if I would take a job in Washington.
Oh my.
And I hollered up the stairs, "Oh, it's Western Union, and they have an offer of a job for me in Washington, D.C. Can I go?" And Pop says, "Can you take care of yourself down there?" I said, "Sure, I can take care of myself." I said, "Okay." And Marie, she's got a good head on her. She said, "Tell them to send a copy tomorrow morning." You tell them to send a
We
copy
always
of it.
got copies in the morning. When at work, you know, we got telegrams during the night.
They called during the
They
night.
called the telephone, they mailed you, they sent you a copy.
So
Well,
the next day they
what
said
you heard,
you
know.
had, and they were offering me this job down in Washington, and I took it.
Well, see, that was when Roosevelt
For the
was
federal
president.
government?
Yeah, Roosevelt was president then. And the war had started over in Europe, had been.
And we weren't in it yet.
We won't get it, but he was starting the draft, and that's when they got caught, and he started the draft, he was getting ready for it, you know. So that's when they hired a lot of people. down
That's
there.
when they started the build-up for World War II.
So then what were you doing when you went over there? What did you?
Well, when I went down, I had passed the test for type clerk, stenographer, or something like that. And anyways, when I went down, I got a job as a typist. And we were in a pool for about 2 days. And then they sent you to various places where they were ready for clerk typists. I was a clerk typist in the beginning. And I was doing various things of typing, and I was in the classification section of the Adjutant General's office. The Adjutant General was the guy that handled all personnel matters at that point. And classification, the division, that was the one that decided where the people would go, what they would do when they got in the service. You classified them for a certain job, you know. And Jim always said that's how we had cooks and runners. Well, and then I did that for 6 months to the day. And then they gave me a new job, a promotion, and I became a stenographer. And I did that 6 months to the day.
Really?
Well, see, I was 6 months probationary.
Why not a button rate?
6 months to the
Yeah.
day. And then
Yeah,
I
you
got
got-
another promotion and I became a searcher.
There's lots more out
So
there.
what I did then, we had all the records, we
One
had
cheese,
records on all these army guys. And
No, I just
I
want
went
to have.
through and decided
I
what
never
they
said
did,
it without a gun.
Oh,
you know, what was the most important thing they did and how long they did it for. And then you put all their jobs down that you could find in their records, the things that they did. And then they had other clerks who were classifiers, and they're the ones, we put it on a card. And then they went through and put the cards in certain slots, you know.
So that's how they got chosen.
Mhm. And eventually I became a classifier. And then I eventually became a supervisor in the retirement section. But then I moved on to some other jobs.
Was this all in the Pentagon?
Yeah, I liked it. Pentagon wasn't even built.
Oh, okay.
I was over in the, Army building, there were two buildings down on Constitution Avenue.
But then you went into the
So
cheese.
salt, Tim.
Your salt.
Just a little piece of that.
Down,
Low salt.
well, you'd have to come to Washington
It went
again to
down
see
low.
it, where the buildings used to be.
Yeah.
They're gone. They were temporary buildings
I
from.
remember seeing the Pentagon. I remember
Well,
seeing.
then
it.
she
Oh,
was
yeah,
in
you were
Pentagon.
down there.
Yeah.
You were down there.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
what I mean, you were there after.
Oh, yeah. I eventually, when the Pentagon was built in 1942, you see, I was down there in 1940, and I worked in the tempo, but after when the new Pentagon went up, it wasn't even finished. We moved over there into the Pentagon. And I stayed there. I worked in the Pentagon all through until, oh no, we moved from there down to Fort McNair. I worked down there. That was another temporary building. And then eventually I ended up in a brand new building when I became Office of Personnel Operations. You know, then you knew they handled all personnel work. It was, gave it a new title, and well, it was run differently too. But that's where I ended up. And that was in a building in Virginia, the Hoffman building. It was very nice.
You've been in apartments. Oh, that's a million apartment.
Yeah, she had 3 or 4 girls sometimes that all lived in the same apartment.
You got that camera on? Juju?
Oh, what's it on?
Better turn it
Oh,
on.
yeah,
Better turn it off. Oh, my goodness.
It runs for 2 hours.
Oh.
Yeah, but you want to save some for,
Oh, you know what, maybe you wanna run that, battery on a charger.
It looks like it's got the battery in, charge up.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we can charge it here.
Yeah, charge it, he says it'll last for 2 hours.
Will it do?
They took $1,000 deposit on that thing.
No, it-
What? Yeah, they took my MasterCard, put $1,000 deposit on that, in case I don't bring it back.
Boy.
Make sure I get
But
it
you'll
back.
get it.
But there weren't any cheaper ones than that, alright? That's what somebody told me, that's the cheapest
And
dress you
I
could find.
talked to the mother one time, and this was about 6 or 8 months after.
And when I got to school, sisters wanted to know why I was so late, and I told her, and they all laughed at me. Oh, I was just wanting to go into a little hole. I was scared to death in that town. I wouldn't go past.
Yeah, they used to go up the back way sometimes.
Yeah, you used to cut through, I know that.
What if that? No, I'm gonna say that old man. I'm sure he's gone.
He's probably gone.
Guess it just grew.
Huh? It just grew, I guess. They might have planted it after they bought the place too, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good place to park, Doc. Hello, boy.
Yeah, because you can post.
Even with Boston,
Yeah.
whenever Mary Ann was there, I don't think that's what they were there.
Really is nice.
Helped out, and we used to have our dinner, food
Yeah.
there. This part wasn't finished. Dad left
That
this
was
part.
this, he was working on it, yeah. Uh-huh.
Mom says, if you get in, make sure you go down in the basement and look at the fireplace. That's where we cooked. That's where we lived.
Oh, yeah, you did live in the basement for a while.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I don't think you had the skylights. See, they have skylights
Yeah.
up on the
Did
roof.
you have a skylight?
No,
No, they've
haven't
made
been.
changes, huh?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
We didn't have skylights. Wow. We had bushes and a chicken coop way down there. And we used to run down there and climb that mountain behind there. Oh, we were all over
This
this
is all
place.
landscape now.
Yeah. That was all wild.
Uh-huh.
Chicken coop was down there right about where that tree is.
They had a lot of ground, huh? This is a cute little patio they built too.
Yeah, it is.
Uh-huh.
Oh, a huge yard.
You know, when Jimmy Boy was here, Dorothy brought him up to see this, and he got up and he saw it, and he said, why did Mom and Dad ever move? He said, this is wonderful, how nice and quiet it is. I said, oh, I don't know, they wanted to go to Florida. He said, gee, he thought they were crazy that they ever moved away from this place.
I don't know though. I wouldn't have got my hubby if
You
I
wouldn't have
didn't.
What?
Everything looks big when you're a kid.
Yeah, it sure does.
That's why it's closer.
Oh, yeah. They doubled their house.
Oh,
I think he
Well, I guess that was their
Well,
ground.
they built the garage, and then they built rooms up there.
And
That's what
see,
it
I
is.
think you didn't have a
Uh-huh.
fence in between. It all seemed like one big place.
Well, there was a fence.
Was there a fence
'Cause I
there?
can remember standing, well, at least when Mary Ann was
There
there,
was a fence.
we stood at the fence.
Because I can
and
remember
talked to
pulling
Mrs.
weeds
Jankowski.
away from the fence.
Oh.
There was a
Uh-huh.
fence.
Yeah.
Well, this must be it here or no? Yeah, I guess that's the fence that divides it.
I think so. That's the property something like.
Well, they got the yard must be shaped to me now. Of course, I guess we weren't in there very
Well.
long.
Eventually, your dad would have got all that done.
Oh, sure.
That's why that house looks so close and big.
Yeah. Uh-huh. See, they put on a garage, and then it looks
Yeah, they
like
just
somebody-
came, they just went
Well,
down to,
That's all my dad's sisters up there. Up there, that's all my dad's sisters.
Okay.
Yeah? You can see me again, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Nice seeing you.
Okay.
Okay, bye-bye.
Good.
Bye. Bye.